Are we both wearing the same clothes as last time? We'll make it look like we did it in a day.
No, I am.
Fear not, folks, we are back on the cladding. Today I'm going to get a start on the end. Might even get it all done. Feeling motivated, and Dad's up here for the day, so make the most of that. So this end here, we're not going to do the same. I don't want it to carry on round and look like a shed or a summer house. I want it to be a bit different. So we're going to go vertical, a bit like we did on the far end internally. I've got these cedar boards. Definitely not planing them this time, we're just going to go with it. They are fairly smooth, but they're straight from the sawmill. Alright, so far so good. We are gradually getting a bit of a rhythm here. These are about 150, these boards. We're just making sure that we're using boards that are close to in thickness to the one next to it. They're about 25mm. I'm going 2 fixings at the moment. I need a third one in. I normally go about 1 every 50mm. So, you know, on this size board that needs 3. And they're ring shank nails. Ideally we'd use stainless, and I think we'll swap to that. I've started on stainless here actually, so we should be okay. And we're carrying them all the way down to the bottom onto that board, so there's a bit of a gap under, just to make sure any rain that's kind of flowing across that concrete isn't going to wick up inside the timbers. Well, it's been a productive but rather hot day getting this end done. We've got just beyond halfway, but what slowed us down right at the end is getting all the counterbattening and all the window framed out on the other side. But what that does mean is it's just fairly straightforward boards to go on tomorrow. I can work through that myself, above and below the window and across the middle, and then we'll work out how we're going to cap over the join between the two, but it should disappear. Now, we didn't plane these or anything like that, like the ones inside, so we've made sure that they're all around 25mm, and we've buttoned them up tight because we know they're going to shrink. But I kind of like the evening light. It's now kind of picking up a little bit more on the texture. It's definitely going to give it a nice rustic look. There was no point spending, you know, a full day trying to plane all these down, and then everything just looks, you know, any imperfections jump out. So using the framing nailer, getting them on straight as kind of rough cut sawmill boards, it's going to give it a nice authentic look. we both wearing the same clothes as last time? We'll make it look like we did it in a day.
No, I am. I am.
Hang on, there we go.
Yeah, we've got some thin bits.
But a single wide would cap.
I don't think it would.
Hey?
I think it's exactly the same width. It's almost the same, isn't it?
I think if
They're
you...
only, that's about 140. Yeah, it's how you're going to fix it. Fix it to the 2 strips you put in.
Yeah.
They still work. It might open up, but...
So if we found one that's a bit thinner...
There is one thinner. Oh, this one was just one that stood on.
Well, what we're planning to do for the middle. So all these are all nailed up. We switched back to stainless because I ordered a new pack. So hopefully, well, these will be alright. The first ones will be alright. We might end up with a few black streaks here, but anyway, we'll deal with that when we get to it. So here we're a little bit off centre, the marriage line of the 2 halves of the building, but that's okay. And there's a little bit of a step, So what we're going to do is a piece here, a piece there, and then a central board which will cap over the whole lot. I'm not going to wait for the nice sunny day blue sky shot because this is reality and we're stood here in the rain in rainy August. But it is done. Oh, and thunder. I can just hear thunder in the distance. It's quite slabby in that we didn't decide to have any windows in this one because it would have meant 2 windows in the kids' bedroom, which was probably more than needed, especially with bunk beds. But I think what we're going to do is make up some trellis and we're going to put all of our troughs along the bottom here, plant them up, which will just tidy up the bottom. So the last bit of skirt, it's not really a skirt yet, but the last bit of cladding, this bottom 500-600 millimeters, will be cut off to this point here when the cabins are moved and re-sited and wherever they go. But for now, we carried on all the way down to the floor. We kept it off the floor by 25 mil using a board along the bottom. That will pull out. Now all I need to do is put in a thinner sort of trim piece, like a bit of skirting, I guess, and fix it to those. That will just hold all of those together because at the moment they kind of go in and out. Right, firstly, apologies. It's been over a month since we finished this, but it's looking good. There's still bits to do, roof trim to finish, but the cedar end is done. But I need to finish more cladding, so the rest of this video is going to be finishing off the side elevations, which is tongue and groove log lap. We've done a video on it before, framed out around the windows. We've got all that trim in place, a little bit like we just did on the vertical cladding. But I'm now working on just this last bit up here. Yesterday, that when I set out my vertical boards, the corner's obviously a fixed point, but then I put these trim pieces in because I didn't want to join cladding end to end. This piece here, I put too far to the left. It should have been about 150 mil this way, or maybe I put the mark and I put it the wrong side of the mark. So these boards only came to me at 4.2 meters, so they're not long enough to go all the way. So I've ended up cutting them back. And you can see, well, hopefully you can't see that clearly. I've had to put some joins in here, so there's a staggered join. I've straightened up my window. That is a nice regular bit there, and I'm just about to start the same here. So I'll cut my 8 boards to go in there. And then just as we approach the top of the window, I'll need to make sure we're level both sides and then scribe around the top. Right, I've stopped play about 3 times because of the rain, but we're getting there. I'm up both sides, and now this is the tricky bit because I've got to kind of cut the top of the window out and just hope that I've got to the same level each side. So I'm a 46 mil one side, and I've just got to push that last board up a little bit to even it out. And then I'll have to just do the same sort of thing again where I've got that join, but it should be alright. No one will ever know. Alright, see if it fits after all that. Took me about half an hour to find a circular saw. Almost there, a little trim off the side, and it should sit level. Right, as per usual, I haven't finished, and storm something or other is on the way, apparently. So I need to batten down the hatches, get everything packed away, go and sort out some livestock issues, and then hopefully get this edited and up. So 2 more boards to go along the whole end up there, and we will be done. Which means we're exactly halfway, apart from that little bit, exactly halfway through cladding the whole cabin. So the other end's going to get the same treatment as this, and then on the west side facing the fields we're going to be using the log lap. Hopefully we've got a bit of a rhythm now and we should be able to do that quicker than this. But this video is all about this cedar and I think it's worked out really well. I'll have a little look back, see if I can work out what I paid for this, but I remember it being pretty cheap. I think they were about, it was something like 70p a metre or something silly like that. And equally, the tongue and groove cladding, we had the issues with the fact that it had been profiled wrong, so it didn't fit. I've timed it, it's taken me less than a minute per board to run through the router table. And therefore, I think I worked it out in the comments in the previous video, it saved something like 1,500 quid, maybe even £2,000, because I was paying, you know, a really, really low rate for the actual timber, probably because of that. And the fact I bought it in bulk. If I'd gone ahead and bought it at the standard rate, then I would have paid a lot more. So my time, it's probably added on, I don't know, less than a day's labour, and I'm certainly not worth 1,500 quid a day. So there we go, it did save us in the end. It was just a bit of a head scratch to get it sorted. Now I didn't actually mention it in the previous section of this video, but I need to build, using the offcuts of these boards, build a sort of a cladded timber skirt to go along under there. That will just close off that end. It'll make it look tidier, but also it'll stop dogs or anything else getting stuffed under there and it looks untidy. So there we go, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that. I will crack on with the rest of the cladding. It has become just the constant drag in the background. I've got 101 other things I want to be doing, endless other projects that need to be done pre-winter, roofing, a whole building needs a new roof on it, a bridge needs building, and there's about 1.5 kilometres fencing to do. So I've got, you know, a few time constraints now, but I've got to get this done and I've got to get the guttering on, and then we can be happy going into winter that the cabin is done. Although there's always bits, but you know, it'll be done enough. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.